right, check in everybody. Good evening here in the United States. It is 5:26, just before 5:30 p.m. Central Time. Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Hey, Lyndon, comment where you're tuning in from, what city and what state or where in the world you're watching from. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. Judy, Oklahoma here. Are we starting or ending? We're starting. Oh, we're getting started. How's everybody doing? I don't have the feed behind me. There it is. There's the live feed. Live stream is up behind me now. Good to go. Watch it from West Yorkshire. How you doing? United Kingdom, Auckland, New Zealand, Pace, Florida's tuned in. How you doing? Good evening. Good evening. How you doing? Hey, Be Wicked. How you doing? What's up? Hey. We got Idaho tuned in. Dinkytown's tuned in. Apologize, I missed yesterday's stream and left you guys hanging at this time. It was just a rough mental health day yesterday for me. Rough mental health day. I was trying to hype myself up to get going yesterday, and it just wasn't going. But we're here. We're good to go. I think the 5 p.m. time is better anyways. Lets me get a little bit more sleep. Johnsburg, Illinois is tuned in. Tampa, Florida, Vermont. Denver, of course, our full coverage is overnight. 8 hours. 8-hour coverage is from 11:30 p.m. to 7 a.m. Northern California, tune in. How you doing? Virginia Beach. How you doing? St. Paul, Minnesota. How you doing? Denmark's tuned in. You were 30 seconds behind until now. Oh, I'm glad you're caught back up now. Missouri's tuned in. How you doing? Take care of yourself. I will. Thank you. Yeah, I'm seeing other streamers going through the same thing that's been covering this. So I'm glad I'm not alone. Kokomo, Indiana. So again, Thursdays. So just to give you guys, we're live every day with the war coverage. Thursdays are my only day off that I'm taking off, but even those days, I encourage you guys to join me. I'm going to be streaming video games on Thursdays, just Thursdays. So y'all that have been tuned in every single day since this has started need a day off, anyways. We can still talk about it. We can still talk about it in the chat, but I'd rather take a day to we can do other content. We got Gran Turismo 7 came out. Other games. We can stream some other stuff. Take one day off a week, and that's going to be Thursdays. But don't worry, I mean, dang, we're doing like 12 hours of coverage a day, even with that day off. So 12 hours of coverage, even with that day off. And then Sunday mornings, I might have to end, so Saturday night stream into Sunday, I might have to end that stream a little earlier and go to bed. Because we're doing practice on Sundays for our softball team. Yeah, we're doing our softball team. We're a U-Trip US AAA softball team, sanctioned team. We're going to be playing in tournaments, and so we need to start our practicing. And it's also going to help me too. I love softball and activities that take my mind away from this stuff. So that's going to be good for me as well when softball comes back. I know it's a glory days type of sport, but I think it's good for adults still to get out there and be active in a community. I know it's people get made fun of for it. And whatever, I'll never make fun of someone for wanting to play a sport or do a hobby as an adult, because it's still huge. Still very important to have a hobby as an adult. So, and it's something that you can work to get better at. I know it's like not important in the grand scheme of things. It's just softball, but it's something I can work at to improve upon on the side of the work that I do. And I think it's still important to improve upon a skill, no matter what the skill is, in conjunction to your career. Because then it might help your career too, because then you might think more critically about your career then, because you're trying to improve something else. So then you might have some perspective on your career too. Do I do co-ed? Sometimes. I don't have a sponsored team. Or I don't have a team for co-ed right now. Just men's D and C. CD. All right, so let's look at the latest. The latest we were watching yesterday, of course, is the protests. Again, if you want to tune into the daytime coverage, I implore you guys, tune in as much as you can for overnight, because that's when daytime comes and there's protests every day in Kherson. If you haven't noticed right now, it's nighttime. The Russians haven't made any significant moves or advancements at night. They continue to bomb and drop missiles and bombardments on the city of Kharkiv. We see video and clips come out every morning. And again, that morning time would be later on this evening for us. But every morning, there's more clips and video come out of Kharkiv from the shellings that occur there. The other big news is the United States is cutting off Russia from oil dependence, it seems like. Let's look that up quick. U.S., Russia. From Associated Press, they do a pretty good job. They've actually featured me on there, and they did the story pretty well. So let's listen to this first. This is from Associated Press about the oil, a U.S. ban on Russian oil. What does it accomplish? That's why the decision for the U.S. it was easy decision for the U.S. Or not easy decision, I should say, but easier than Europe. Easier decision to make than Europe is. All right, let's get to Twitter. Also, take a moment, if you haven't, again, viewer check-in one more time. Comment where you're tuned in from if you just joined us. Like the video if you haven't. Like the video. Hit the like button on Facebook. Share the stream. Hit the share button. Like the video. We got 189 reacts and nearly 500 viewers on Facebook. Couldn't hear it? It was muted? That's odd. Hold on. Okay, how about now? Now you guys will be able to hear. I didn't know I had the audio output muted. All right. Let's listen to it one more time. My bad. I got you guys.
With Russia intensifying its war on Ukraine, killing civilians and triggering a mass refugee crisis, President Joe Biden on Tuesday announced a U.S. ban on imported Russian oil. Critics of Russia have said that sanctioning its energy exports would be the best, perhaps only, way to force Moscow to pull back. A full embargo would be most effective if it included European allies, which are also desperate to stop the violence in Ukraine and the danger Moscow poses to the continent. Yet it's far from clear that all of Europe would take part in an embargo, though Britain announced Tuesday that it would phase out Russian oil imports by year's end. Unlike the United States, Europe is deeply reliant on energy it imports from Russia, the world's second-largest crude oil exporter behind Saudi Arabia. While the U.S. could replace the relatively small amount of fuel it receives from Moscow, Europe could not, at least not anytime soon. Russia-Ukraine war. Russia-Ukraine war. All
right. So that's why it'd be the deal is easier for the U.S. to make. We rely on Russia less than the rest of Europe. Still going to affect people in the United States, though. American citizens. All right. The bot's turned on. The chat bot is turned on now. Again, you can track comments from Putin, so just kind of looking at any latest news. It's a lot of recap during this time. A lot of recap time. Hungary doesn't support a ban on Russian energy. The extension of the sanctions to the Russian energy sector would represent a disproportionately large burden for Hungary, said Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. And then also the jet deal. Breaking Pentagon response to Poland's proposal on jets. We will continue to consult with Poland and other NATO allies about this issue and the difficult logistical challenges it presents, but we do not believe Poland's proposal is a tenable one. It's easy to support a no-fly zone where Ukraine are fair game for conventional or nuclear strikes. That's speculative. Speculative. Let's look at that. Let's look up those stories. Like the video too if you haven't. Petrol went up $4.68 per liter in New Zealand today. What are your gas prices in your city? Right. Let's do this. You see Poland jets. Just see that. That might be a keyword. Poland jets. That says Poland. Poland. U.S. can transfer fighter jets to Ukraine. All right, so here's the 2 hours ago in the Air Force times.
Poland's foreign affairs minister said Tuesday the country wants to immediately send all of its MiG-29 Fulcrum fighter jets to Germany's Ramstein air base, where the United States could decide whether and how to transfer them to Ukrainian troops. The aircraft come free of charge, Zbigniew Rau wrote in a statement posted to the Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs website. Poland owns nearly 30 combat-ready MiG-29s, according to the International Institute for Strategic Studies. At the same time, Poland requests the United States to provide us with used aircraft with corresponding operational capabilities, Rau said. Poland is ready to immediately establish the conditions of purchase of the planes. He asked other NATO allies that own MiG-29s to do the same. Ukrainian Air Force pilots are already trained to fly the Soviet-era jets, which are akin to American F-16 Fighting Falcons or F/A-18 Hornets. Pentagon officials say they have seen the published reports and have nothing to offer at this time in response.
All right. Poland's foreign affairs minister said Tuesday the country wants to immediately send all of its MiG-29s to Germany's Ramstein air base. So they get MiG-29s, Poland gets F-16s. A trade deal. Pentagon questions Poland's proposal to transfer MiG-29 jets to U.S. It's simply not clear to us that there is substantive rationale for it. So they want to send the jets to the U.S. and then from the U.S. there? Let's keep going.
Officials in Ukraine, which is not currently a member of NATO or the European Union, have pleaded for more military assistance from the U.S. and other European countries as it nears 2 weeks of battling the Russian invasion. But critics worry Russia will retaliate against countries that contribute aircraft and other major combat systems to the fight. The West has provided a range of anti-tank munitions, combat gear, targeting intelligence, and other resources, but so far shied away from committing troops or military vehicles. A State Department spokesperson told Air Force Times on Tuesday the U.S. is working with the Poles and consulting other NATO allies on the issue. This is Poland's sovereign decision to make, they added. We have in no way opposed Poland transferring planes to Ukraine. Still, they noted, several challenging practical questions still remain, like how NATO countries would actually hand off their MiG-29s to the Ukrainians. We very much support them providing MiGs, Sus, planes that Ukrainian can fly, to the Ukrainians, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Sunday. But we also want to see if we can be helpful in making sure that whatever they provide to the Ukrainians, something goes to them to make up for any gap in the security for Poland that might result. We're actively talking about that right now. The news came as a surprise to U.S. officials even though those negotiations have been ongoing for several days. During a Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearing on Tuesday afternoon, Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs Victoria Nuland said she learned of it as she was driving to Capitol Hill.
Okay, let's go back. New article. Discord has an update on it. I'm in the war room. Scrolling down. That jump to present button's huge. Join our Discord server. Oh yeah, I just pulled this one up. Again, that's the audio from Kyiv. That audio is coming from the Maidan Square. It's nighttime. Nighttime in Kyiv right now. The time also of every single live stream that I'm doing from now on. Look in the top right corner. Look in the right corner of the screen right now. Just take your eyeballs and look in the top right. Now you see the scrolling headlines now. So that's at the top. So over here. And then you got the date time stamp for me. This is what my live right now in Minnesota. And then underneath that, you have the live for Kyiv, or the time for Kyiv. So, daytime stamp for me, daytime stamp for Kyiv, so you know what time it is, and you know that this is live. They're 8 hours ahead. So just always check. You can look at the two times. They're 8 hours ahead. It's 5:42 p.m. 5:42 p.m. here, Central Time. How are you guys doing? Good evening, good evening. Like the video if you haven't. We have 420 tuned in on Facebook now. Spark one up for Facebook. Joints for peace. Thanks for putting the time up. Yep, of course. So just keep looking over there every time. Everyone always asks, what time is it in Kyiv? What is this live? Is this live? I got the timestamp. It says live in the top left, but I know people restream feeds all the time. So we have that extra security with the time there, so you guys can just look at that. Because I know some of my streams post after they're live, and you guys get notified of that. And then you're watching it as if it's live, but it's actually not. And that's not our bad. That's Facebook and YouTube. But always check that time in the right, so you know what day you're watching. Because there's been lots of feeds, there's lots of lives. Some channels are just running continuous feeds nonstop. Like 11-hour, 12-hour streams every day. I don't know how they do it. I don't know. My computer would be probably got like two GPUs, I bet. They're only doing one. They're only going to one platform too, though. It takes a lot to go to. A lot of extra resources and power. Multi-streaming. Hey, from Ontario, how you doing, Jeremy? So, Fitch downgrades Russian credit to imminent default. This is the other news. This is a credit bureau downgrading Russia to a C rating, which reflects Fitch's view that a sovereign default is imminent. Russia defaulting. Who interviews the CIA director? However, Putin's increasing isolation and insulation from conflicting views make him extremely difficult to deal with. William Burns, is that the CIA director? Yep. William Joseph Burns is an American diplomat and career ambassador serving as the director of the Central Intelligence Agency since March 19th, 2021. Let's read what the CIA is saying. Stalled and frustrated, Putin will likely double down in the coming weeks, CIA says. So let's read the CIA report. They amp shit too, though, so keep in mind. They amp too.
CIA Director William Burns said Tuesday that Russia's invasion of Ukraine has fallen far short of Vladimir Putin's expectations, and he believes the Russian leader is likely to escalate military operations. I think Putin is angry and frustrated right now. He's likely to double down and try to grind down the Ukrainian military with no regard for civilian casualties, Burns testified before the House Intelligence Committee. His military planning and assumptions were based on a quick, decisive victory. Burns was one of several intelligence chiefs who appeared before the committee's annual hearing on worldwide threats. The CIA director said Putin premised his war on 4 false assumptions. He thought Ukraine was weak. He believed Europe was distracted and wouldn't mount a strong response. He thought Russia's economy was prepared to withstand sanctions, and that Russia's military had been modernized and would fight effectively. He's been proven wrong on every count, said Burns, who served as the U.S. ambassador to Russia from 2005 to 8. The CIA director says he now expects Putin to escalate military operations, while the Ukrainians will continue to resist fiercely. The likely result, he says, is an ugly next few weeks of fighting for control of Ukraine's cities, including the capital Kyiv.
So again, CIA amp, could be amping, could be true. CIA report. So far, I mean, I don't know if it was CIA intelligence or U.S. intelligence about the Odessa landing, the amphibious landing that was planned. They were correct on that. U.S. intelligence. Ukrainian intelligence, at least the President Zelensky found reports and maps and all types of documents which could very well have been fake. I could totally see the Russian military having fake plans and military documents on them. So if they're captured, it'll throw off the Ukrainian military. But there were reports of an amphibious landing in the Black Sea on Odessa. They actually started bombarding it a few days ago. But U.S. intelligence came out and said that there was no threat for an amphibious landing, and that so far that claim has been true from the U.S. intelligence side. So keep in mind, CIA amping, they amp all the time. So take this with what you will. We'll just keep monitoring it. CIA amps. They want it. They want to be involved. But again, take it with what you will.
His own military's performance has been largely ineffective, Burns said of Putin. Instead of seizing Kyiv within the first 2 days of the campaign, which is what his plan was premised upon, after nearly 2 full weeks they still have not been able to fully encircle the city. Russia has suffered heavy casualties. Reliable casualty figures have been hard to come by. Russia's defense ministry announced last week that 498 Russian soldiers had been killed.
And let's look at the numbers that Ukraine's putting out. Russia said less than 5. That was a week ago. They haven't updated their numbers in a week. But this is as of March 8th. So this was as of this morning in Ukraine. This is the update. If you haven't seen this is Russia's losses via Ukraine. No, they haven't landed. There was no amphibious landing. It didn't happen. I apologize if I didn't complete my sentence. No, the U.S. So what happened was they captured POWs, and those POWs, Russian POWs, had intelligence plans and documents saying that there was going to be an amphibious landing from the Black Sea in Odessa. So President Zelensky tweeted that out and everything. And then the U.S. intelligence report came and said that there was no evidence, or there is no immediate threat to an amphibious landing from the Black Sea in Odessa. So so far one U.S. intelligence report's been credible along this way. We haven't really been looking at U.S. intelligence reports because they haven't really been necessary. But, they come along the way. Obviously, we're checking them. And I'm not just like, that's it. That's the answer.
Killed, and nearly 1,600 wounded. The head of the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency, Army Lieutenant General Scott Barrier, said his best estimate is that Russian deaths have now risen to between 2,000 and 4,000. Meanwhile, the Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines, said Putin's longer-term plans for Ukraine were still uncertain.
Hello from Hillsboro, Oregon. How you doing, Dave?
Uncertain. What's unclear at this stage is whether Russia will continue to pursue a maximalist plan to capture all or most of Ukraine, which we assess would require more resources, Haines said. If they pursue the maximalist plan, we judge it will be especially challenging for the Russians to hold and control Ukrainian territory and install a sustainable pro-Russian regime in Kyiv. Burns agreed that Putin does not appear to have a defined plan for what he would do if Russian forces take control of Ukraine. The challenge he faces, and this is the biggest question that's hung over our analysis of his planning for months now, is he has no sustainable political endgame in the face of what is going to continue to be fierce resistance from Ukrainians, Burns said. Putin positioned more than 150,000 troops near Ukraine's borders before the war began on February 24th. The Pentagon said Russia has now sent almost all those combat forces into Ukraine. However, the Pentagon said it has not seen signs that Russia is moving additional forces toward Ukraine at this point. U.S. officials and analysts who follow Russia say the Russian military would need a force several times the size of the current one to maintain a sustained occupation of Ukraine.
Look at that one. So here's another U.S. Again, you got to verify these all the time. U.S. officials and analysis who follow Russia says the Russian military would need a force several times the size of the current one to maintain a sustained occupation of Ukraine. So you have those reports, and then you have the common knowledge that, you know, anybody that's been watching this and tuned in understands that Vladimir Putin isn't backing down. So you have on one hand the fact of the military that Putin is using and their army, the Russian army, is they would need a force several times the size of the current one according to U.S. officials to maintain a sustained occupation. Keep in mind they haven't broken into the country. They're still fighting over the border areas. They've continuously shelled the city of Kharkiv on a nightly basis and have not taken this city. The furthest they've gotten in over a week ago into Kyiv, the battle for Kyiv was the zoo. I think this was like Saturday night, maybe Sunday night, the first weekend of it's almost 2 weeks in. A wild 2 weeks in. And they got as close as the zoo. All the animals are fine. All the workers that work there were okay. They evacuated the animals. Yeah, we read the whole story here. We can go back and touch on that. We had some people asking. It's old news. This is old news now, but just people had asked about the zoo. See, Kyiv Zoo. Animals were allowed to. 2 days ago, it was like bombs and bullets threaten the animals of the zoo here. Agree. 4,000 here. When was this? On the 3rd? Oh, this isn't. So this article was posted on the 3rd. They have food. All right, let's listen. Update on the zoo.
As Russian forces descend upon the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv Zoo remains closed to visitors, but no plans have been made to evacuate its animals.
So now that changed. Then they haven't made plans to evacuate. They were working to evacuate the animals because after that attack, and now that I guess there isn't. This is the latest Euronews Green about the zoo.
Animals. The zoo is home to 4,000 creatures belonging to over 200 species, including elephants, camels, and Ukraine's only gorilla. But staff at the zoo say the opportunity to evacuate its animals has now well and truly passed.
Oh no.
It's almost impossible to evacuate animals, because it's impossible to provide appropriate veterinary service and transportation, says Kirill Trentin, the zoo's chief. For now, we have food supplies for around 10 days.
That was posted on the 3rd. They had food supplies for 10 days. That was posted on the 3rd. We'll have to see if they got a resupply. Here's from the Daily Mail 55 minutes ago. 55 minutes ago. Again, these are articles. If you don't like the source in general, that we're reading individual articles. Shock. Last year, some 700,000 visitors flocked Kyiv Zoo, which is home to 4,000 animals. I'm trying to find an update. Some background on the zoo, but animals come first. Here.
Before the war, we stockpiled 2 weeks' worth of food for the animals. We are now in the 2nd week of war, and today we went to our storehouse and got out 3 tons of food. That will last another week. After that, we will see. I already have people running around the city looking for fresh foodstuffs in supermarkets. Sometimes they are paying for it with their own money. We need to source fruit and vegetables, and we have begun to make our own yogurt for our gorilla, Tony.
Tony, the only gorilla in Ukraine. That's the only gorilla they have at the zoo.
The carnivores are getting more chicken than they would receive in peacetime. Normally it would be beef. Did you know that giraffes like onions? I did not. Snow has just fallen and I watch a tiger pad across the white blanket of his enclosure.
Horace has not lost his appetite. They got an elephant named Horace. Tony, the Western gorilla, is 47 years old. Tony, he's 47-year-old gorilla. Arrived from Germany 20 years ago. Tony's been in that zoo for 20 years.
Tony the Western gorilla is 47 years old. Since he arrived from Germany 20 years ago, he has become a symbol of the zoo and a favorite of Chivans. But the war has made him depressed. The cause is not the sounds of battle, which do not penetrate his winter enclosure, but loneliness.
Oh.
Plus, the problem is that he likes to see new people every day, but that is not possible now the zoo is closed to visitors, says Mr. Tranton. So now we have him watch a television for 2 hours every day so he can see human faces. It's not the same, of course, but it's the best we can do for him in the circumstances. Can Tony not be evacuated? I talked to the German zoo where he was born and they made that offer. But it is impossible due to his age. He would have to be sedated to make the journey and that is too risky for a 47-year-old gorilla. The logistics of the trip would also be very difficult, with so many problems on the road. So Tony stays here and we stay here, too, to look after him. He is a symbol of the city, and heroes do not run.
Wow. He is a symbol of the city and heroes do not run.
He is a symbol of the city, and heroes do not run. Mr. Trantin wants us to see one other victim of war, who has become well known on Ukraine.
Tony. So, that's the update on the zoo. Kyiv Zoo staff and families care for nearly 4,000 animals.
As Ukraine endures an escalating bombardment from Russia, many are fleeing to neighboring countries, others are seeking shelter deep underground. But Kirill Trenton is staying put to help protect those with nowhere to go, the animals at the Kyiv Zoo.
I think 4 days ago there was a huge fight near the zoo, and there was an attempt to occupy the military unit. Tracer ammunition was flying all over the zoo.
Trenton, the zoo director, along with his colleagues and their families, have been living together in the zoo for the past week since the Russian invasion began. They call themselves a zoo military commune.
It's stressful for animals, and in the morning after, we have to look if anybody was hurt. But there were no obvious signs of injuries, and no one dead. But birds were hurting themselves while hitting on cages.
Trenton says the zoo houses 200 species
There's
and
Tony.
nearly 4,000 animals.
All day we are working with animals, and at night we are hiding at shelters because there are attacks.
While the residents of this zoo aren't going anywhere, others are getting out. A Polish zoo official said a truck carrying 6 lions, 6 tigers, 2 caracals, and an African wild dog from a sanctuary east of Kyiv reached Poland on Thursday after a 2-day drive to escape the Russian invasion.
So they are
Pictures
getting some
provided
out.
by Poland's Poznan Zoo showed workers caring for the animals as they waited to cross the border. Malgorzata Chodlia is a spokeswoman for the zoo.
The animals were exhausted, very hungry and very thirsty. We are very grateful to the Ukrainian heroes who brought these animals to us.
Chodlia told Reuters that the animals had been taken to the border by a driver and 3 older men with no experience handling wild animals and who had now gone back to Kyiv to defend their city.
Wow. So they transported as many as they could. One more time. I play clips twice.
As Ukraine endures an escalating bombardment from Russia, many are fleeing to neighboring countries, others are seeking shelter deep underground. But Kirill Trenton is staying put to help protect those with nowhere to go, the animals at the Kyiv Zoo.
I think 4 days ago there was a huge fight near the zoo, and there was an attempt to occupy the military unit. Tracer ammunition was flying all over the zoo.
Trenton, the zoo director, along with his colleagues and their families, have been living together in the zoo for the past week since the Russian invasion began. They call themselves a zoo military commune.
It's stressful for animals, and in the morning after, we have to look if anybody was hurt. But there were no obvious signs of injuries, and no one dead. But birds were hurting themselves while hitting on cages.
Trenton says the zoo houses 200 species and nearly 4,000 animals.
All day we are working with animals, and at night we are hiding at shelters because there are attacks.
While the residents of this zoo aren't going anywhere, others are getting out. A Polish zoo official said a truck carrying 6 lions, 6 tigers, 2 caracals, and an African wild dog from a sanctuary east of Kyiv reached Poland on Thursday after a 2-day drive to escape the Russian invasion. Pictures provided by Poland's Poznan Zoo showed workers caring for the animals as they waited to cross the border. Malgorzata Chodlia is a spokeswoman for the zoo.
The animals were exhausted, very hungry and very thirsty. We are very grateful to the Ukrainian heroes who brought these animals to us.
Chodlia told Reuters that the animals had been taken to the border by a driver and 3 older men with no experience handling wild animals and who had now gone back to Kyiv to defend their city.
Never had experience handling wild animals, and they brought them to the border. Horace and Tony. Horace is 10 years old, and Tony is 48. All right. Let's check the latest here. Chechen's wearing the yellow color Ukraine. Sorry, I didn't specify. Notice the armbands. Oh, this makes sense. I was wondering what the red is for, because I noticed some Russian soldiers were using a red armband. So yellow is Ukraine, white is Russian, red is Donetsk for Russia. Silver is also Chechens fighting against Russia in Donbass. Very large column of Chechens yesterday going to Ukraine to fight. Okay, so these are Ukraine. These are on the Ukraine side. Wow, look at all that. Look at that. Very large column. This was posted under an hour ago. Okay, music. So look at that Ruck March. That's a big column. Those are Ukraine soldiers. Chechens on the Ukraine side. Remember, Chechens are fighting on both sides. No gloves. I know, right? Out there. Look at that. Cold hands on the weapon. I don't know, dude. My hands just got cold looking at that. There are unconfirmed reports from sources within NATO that the alliance is in talks about declaring a no-fly zone over parts of western Ukraine to assist in the humanitarian efforts. These areas would most likely be the Romanian-Polish border and the city of Lviv. So a partial closure. That would be over here. That would be over here in the western side, which hasn't been, this whole area here of Ukraine hasn't been touched. There's been some air raid alarms going off in Ternopil. And then the strikes are getting as far west as Zhytomyr and Vinnytsia. So these two cities. Here's Kyiv. Here's Lviv. So here's like the safe corridor. This is like the quote-unquote safe passage out to the west. That's the way out. So they're in talks on a partial no-fly zone. Let's see what this is. We had our clip team go through this video. Just highlighting some of the... We went through it. Well, I think it was like 2030 showed the... Yeah, 2030 is the car that gets hit. So this is a good... We went through all these clips last night. So this might actually be a good resource. They're not showing this. We had our Discord team go through and they make sure that, because again, I'm not showing any combat footage. I'm not showing any combat footage of human life getting lost. There's plenty of that out there, and it exists, but we're not showing that. You see, buildings getting hit or vehicular combat. There's some ground forces like firing weapons, but you're not going to see anybody getting, a blatant blood and gore on the screen. The only thing that, again, this is war coverage, so it should go without saying, 18 plus trigger warning, but we're not putting blood and gore on the screen. I can't, and I wouldn't. But at the 2030 mark, just letting you know, it's the tank that we watched this morning that shot and killed the car and the passengers in the vehicle. And it was an elderly couple. This video just came out this morning. There was a video of the person approaching the vehicle that came out a few days ago. So even though that this specific clip, it was from not this clip, but this happening was old, this clip just came out of it. And it's a tank that it engages a civilian vehicle. So that's about in the 20-minute mark. But here's just an update with on the front without any blood and gore in it. Russian Grad and Donetsk area. So this is an update from March 8th. So this all happened during the daytime. So this might be an actual good YouTube channel to keep an eye up and do a daily combat update. So this is all today during the daytime. All of these clips came out during the day in the daytime today. So this is their cruise missile strikes. This is in the Donetsk. This is on the Russian side. This channel is Military Clips Unedited. This war, every war must stop. So that's that's their YouTube channel. Military Clips Unedited. This war is every war must stop. That's what their tagline is. Sparta Battalion Artillery in Donetsk area. This was all yesterday during the daytime. They do fly out of the truck fast. That is rocket artillery. in a large zone area. And then this was the train, Russian armored train in Donbas. This is probably a really good update. All the combat happenings of the day. And then we'll have a new video tomorrow to watch from the 9th, from the 9th, because it's the 9th already in Ukraine. Russian armored train in Donbas. They have an armored train. Russian airborne troops near the Gomel railway, Belarus, near the border with Ukraine. So this is in Belarus, this train right here. I'll pause and then go to the map. This is Belarus. That's the country to the north of Ukraine. That Russia basically is a puppet. It's basically a puppet government for Russia.
Подразделения Росгвардии сейчас будут наносить минометный огонь по окраинам Харькова, по укреплениям.
This is Russian mortars. This is what it looks like on the other side. Oftentimes we're seeing the destruction in the cities from the airstrikes from Russia, and this is what it looks like on their end.
Сами Северной Осетии, с Моздока, Росгвардия, воюем за наших дедов, за то, чтобы националисты, которые фашисты, не распространялись в нашем государстве больше. Вот, за нашу землю, за русских. Вот. Всем привет, всем здоровым, у духа, всем вставайте и работайте.
There's the Russian military with mortar strikes. This was all yesterday. This is a recap of all clips that came out yesterday. So now this is Ukraine side. It shows the flag of the side. It's a tank. Ukrainian tank in action destroyed Russian convoy. So that's a Ukrainian tank.
Отак от сьогодні. Були ще їхали трошки хлопці. Ми з вас і пообідали їхніми продуктами. А тепер вони отам, не виходять. Я їх просив.
Russian troops this was against an elderly couple. Russian troops in Mykolaiv. Here's Mykolaiv down here. Oops. Right in between Kherson and Odessa. So this is Mykolaiv. I have no idea what they're saying, but it's along the lines of "get out" is what I'm assuming. The hell out of here! Shooing them out of there.
Все, я уже закрыла, все, да, це
Я ще пішов далі їх доказувати, де я коли словлять.
Picked him out. Fighting in an urban area. Again, these are all clips from the daytime that you missed.
Там кто-то будет крыл. Ебать, он танк стоит, хуярит. Танк стоит хер. Пиздец. Заезжают танки в город.
Hold on, you could see a person walking back here. And you can see someone walking back there.
Танк стоит хер.
In the top right.
Заезжают танки в город.
Ну що, хлопці, якось так. Після нашого бою ця підоросня почала кидати танки і з'йобувати.
Sumi partisans. This is in Sumi. Sumi is a border city to the northeast of Kyiv. This is Sumi. There was lots of fighting in Sumi again yesterday. Again, we're watching I found this is a good channel now. I'm gonna be using it at this time of night because we watch these clips all during the 8-hour stream. We watched nearly all of these so far. We watched them all when they happen or like when they're posted live. So this is going to be a good channel again every day to recap because some of you guys can't tune in all night long. Fully understand. So these are clips that were from yesterday, but it's technically still the 8th here in the United States. This is posted on the 8th, but it's now the 9th in Ukraine. Okay, so this was all during the daytime on the 8th. It is an early morning. What is it? 2:18 a.m. 2:18 a.m. This is what it looks like now. So these videos were posted yesterday, technically in Ukraine during the daytime, in the morning, afternoon, and evening.
Якось так. Так що, хлопці, молодці. Слава Миргороду, слава Україні.
"24th Mechanized Brigade." Those RPG rockets. Little sus of showing. Oops. Turn that down a little bit.
Мотопехотный батальон, блядь! Слава Украине! Слава! Слава Украине, это наша земля! Танковый бронис на попасную. МПБ держится. Один танк подбит нахуй противником.
24th Mechanized Brigade. Destroyed Russian truck. Russian troops near Mykolaiv. So this was Mykolaiv this morning. We also found the exact location of one of the convoys that was rolling through. This is Mykolaiv, halfway between Kherson and Odessa. trying to take these two. They definitely want Odessa. They're working on Mykolaiv slowly. How scary would that be? You're just like in your house out the window. Because again, it's 2022. Yeah, everybody has smartphones. And you're in your house and you're just filming a foreign convoy rolling through. Taking the position just to be against the grain, isn't a position. Or I guess it is one, but it's not one that will ever be respected. Just because, like, I see there's people in the chat that are, if you're a bot, if you're against Ukraine. No, we're very pro-Ukraine and very against, very pro the people of Ukraine and very against the Russian invasion of it. There's no two sides to this. There's no two sides to this reporting. It's Russia and the Kremlin are invading Ukraine and are killing civilians on a daily basis. Your edginess isn't going to work here. Thanks for trying out. Russia destroyed tanks near Zaporizhzhia.
Odessa stolica, Omsi var da Mayıs kalemize mi geleceğiz? Yani davul galiba. Oh my God, Sakartvelo! Oh my God! Slava Ukraina! Go! 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 Slava нації! Смерть ворогам! Україна! Понад все! Молодці. А ти думав? Я і Майдані був. Блядь, я тільки не зняв.
Known artillery in Donetsk. This is in the Donbas. Donetsk is in the Donbas. There's like a group of people that, like, whenever they see a lot of people on board with one thing, they will just purposely go against the grain and think that's like a valid position just to take, just because the majority of people are supportive of the Ukrainian people and what's happening, and recognizing the facts of what the Russia's doing. And people will like see that and think, oh man, that's like, I can't agree with that. I got to go against the grain. You probably don't have, dude. That's not gonna have a respectable opinion there. I don't care who you are. Known artillery. This is on the. So this is counter anti-air. Ukraine. Missile hitting an oil depot in Zhytomyr region. That was the missile hitting the oil depot. Here's Zotimer. Zotimer. Typing your opinion in caps doesn't give it any extra emphasis, by the way. Zotimer. A little bit to the west, maybe slightly southwest of the capital city. Yeah, it's the clips that have bad audio occasionally. I turned it down some.
Пизда, блядь.
Russian tanks in Bogdanovka. Bogdanovka. Maps. That's not what I want. Where is this? How do I spell it? Bog, Bogdan. In Belarus? No, in Zotimer. Near the border, almost by Belarus. Up in this area. Ulrich. How far away is it from Ulrich? To the southeast slightly. Bodanivka. So near the border by Belarus.
Ніколи не думав, що я таке буду знімати.
Not a single point that Russia has for invading this country is legitimate. Not a single one. Ukraine destroys Russian BTR. That's what the what is it, the Struga P, or what was it? What weapon system did we look up this one with? The Stugna P. And this is an anti-tank guided missile system. That's what it looks like. We look this up. This is Stugna. You operate it from a little remote computer. Anti-tank missile system. Destroys a BTR. It's a Stugna. Did you just look it up, Kelly? Did you? Just right now? Doubt it.
Давай.
Imagine telling me to do more research, Lisa. We've been watching this war for 12 hours a day since it started. Try again. Mykolaiv, 9M113 ATGM in action.
Yes.
So here's some more ATGM, that different angle. This is the. Is this his F?
Попали нам у
I
церкву.
can't see the location because of the sky.
Бля. Пацани, не лізьте туди. Уже все. Нема
Zephyr East Church. I can't see the name, the location because the sky is covering the Zav. Zav. Kyiv last night. Started with ZAV. I can't see. I couldn't see the city of this one because the sky is blocking the caption.
Нема в Заворчах церкви вже.
Всем привет, ребят. Специально, блядь, для русских, сука, блядь, освободителей. Дивися, блядь, хлопчики.
Ukrainian soldiers with Instalaza C90 anti-tank weapons from Spain. Instalaza C90 anti. They have so many anti-tank rockets, dude. This like whoever they tell the story of this war, it's gonna be Russian armor and Ukrainian soldiers with anti-tank weapons, javelin, NLAWs, ATGM, Stug, all of them.
Що є у ЗСУ? Пізда, орки.
Тігра, блядь. Виїжджаємо, сука. Не можемо виїхати, блядь. В машині два жмура, блядь. Їдемо в Харків, в город, блядь. Люда за рулем, блядь.
See, they just like leave the vehicles there. This is IFV captured. Russian tight IFV is captured.
Давай сюда, Юль. Нормальная тема, блядь. Сепарских, блядь, тигр.
Russian plane shot down. Several blasts in Saltivka.
Героям слава!
We don't need the music. Glorify less. These are NLAWs being delivered to Ukrainian forces. These more NLAWs arriving. Dude, look at. All the rockets. No, NLAWs. Artillery fire near Kyiv.
І ще один, як бочину дало. Вообще шикарно.
Captured tanks.
Згорів нахуй, ще. Двохстволки. Тупо десь в бочину уїбали наші пацики. Так їм надо, сука.
Seen that one. Russian supply trucks with heavy mortar captured in Mykolaiv region. This is more a clip from Mykolaiv. Supply trucks with heavy mortar. All right, and this is the one clip. So, viewer discretion, especially advised for this one. This is a civilian vehicle, and they're not. I don't think they show the other clip. No, they just show this part. But this is the elderly couple was driving this vehicle. The tank is in the top of the screen. Just open. That's just like war. There's just so much evidence of war crimes being committed. We tracked this column, Russian column in Brovary. We found this exact location. Do we have that still? Hold on, let me try to scroll up and see if we can. You see. We found where this column was earlier this morning. 2:04 p.m. 11:53 a.m. I'm getting there. We found it towards the end of the stream. 54. WizKid found the coordinates. Hold on. Found the exact coordinates. Here it is. Here's where this video is. Here's the store. This little cell phone store. This is in Brovary. Brovary, we found is, we were figuring out where these tanks are moving towards earlier. Here it is. Right outside of Kyiv. They were actually more in this region, and off of Brovary, and then they took this main road back up into the area that they controlled. Good evening, Cheryl, but this is where this video is, on this street. The camera that you're watching is right here on this fence. Somewhere on this fence line. It's not in the picture here, but there's a camera there. So this is a tank column, a Russian tank column moving through Brovary. Russian column moving through Brovary. Russian BMD-1 destroyed near Kherson. The Z is a military. There's no Z because it's not from the Eastern Military District. They have the O. They're the Belarus. It's the Belarus unit. The O, right there. Or excuse me, let me go back some. Let me try to find it. I think you can see it on this vehicle. There's no Z on these ones because it's not the Eastern Military District. 2 O's. I think the mainstream news is trying to like make the Z into something. I think they're trying to make that symbol. I don't know. I've also seen Russia making that Z symbol a symbol. So both Western media and Russia are amping that Z symbol. But that Z symbol is just a military designation of where that unit is from. It doesn't mean like it doesn't. It's getting a meaning now. It's like in the process of getting a meaning. But right as of when the war started, that Z is just to designate that they're the Eastern Military District. It looks, yeah, they're making it into that. It's combination of the Russia now co-opting the Z, and then Western media amping it, and then the Z is going to become a symbol that's coming out of this war. We're already seeing comparisons to the swastika, so they're taking, this is the 2 O's on the. That's why you don't see a Z on these, because they're from the different unit, the Belarus unit. I saw the CNN had an intelligence expert. This is how I know that they're amping it. They had a quote intelligence expert say that, oh, I don't know what the Z is from. You know, it could be anything. You're like, what? Okay, they're trying to amp the symbolism. So that's how the media is amping the symbolism of the Z as well as the Russian side. But at the end of the day, the Z just means Eastern Military District. But I can see the Z coming out of this war as a Nazi related symbol that they're pushing it. It's going to become an evil symbol, that Z, or it's in the process of it, and it's from the Russian side and Western media amping it. It's been on the trucks. Eastern District Marines. Yes, it is just an identifying mark, but both the Russian side is using it as a symbol because it's like the Russia. I think Russia's trolling the media for co-opting it. Now they're using it too. It's like it wasn't anything other than the symbol on the trucks, but and when the war started, the Z was everywhere. It was on all the trucks, right? That's because we saw a lot of video of the Eastern Military District. So I'm sure Russia's seeing the media like, look, well, what's with all the Z's? What's with all the Z's? What's that? That looks, they're doing it. The Western media has been doing this, and then Russia, who is again propaganda machine king. Whoa, they're getting scared of that Z. They're getting awfully scared of that Z we have. It doesn't mean shit, but damn, we can get some PowerPoints out of this. We're gonna get some PowerPoints out of this Z. So they're amping the Z now, and it's gonna be it's an evil symbol. But that Z doesn't mean, it means just the Eastern Military Marines, Eastern Military District Marines on the trucks. There's multiple symbols, as you can see in this video here. The O's are the Belarus unit. There's O's on this one. You're gonna make the O's an evil symbol too. There's multiple. There's triangles. There's just old school way of identifying their vehicles. But Russia saw that and is like, well, we're gonna make that our symbol now. And make it. It's just too easy to play the West. Too easy. Smooth Brains, YouTube. I'm not amping the Z up. I am not a mainstream corporate media source. It's me and my YouTube channel with my computer and my own GPU and my own CPU and my setup. Smooth brain, you are also Western media, bro. Duh. I am in the West, but I'm not a corporate media company that's pushing the Z symbol as a sign of evil, and then the Russians are co-opting it and then making it a bigger thing. Smooth brains. It's like a brand icon, yeah. If anything, that Z-Force is getting destroyed the worst. That Z-Force is like, all you see is destroyed Z vehicles. I won't be surprised if that Z Eastern Military District is probably the worst part, like their worst of their worst in like military capabilities, because it's just getting, it's like all over the place. All you see is the vehicles with the Z on them getting destroyed. This is Imbrovery. How many? We haven't seen many vehicles or things getting destroyed with the triangle or the O's. This is Imbrovery. This is outside of Kyiv. Been seeing a lot of Z vehicles getting destroyed though, like constant. I saw someone made a comment. The Z vehicles are cannon fodder. That's a good comparison to the Z vehicles, the Eastern Military District vehicles. Lots of stuff going on. Lots of stuff going on with it. And at the end of the day, I don't like it. They're using it. Let's continue on. Just here, we'll do it. So we have to do this like every stream, because this is exactly why. Because people are the media, the Western corporate media is hyping the Z up to people compare it to the Nazi symbol. Here's the vehicles, Russian letters. That's all you need to type now. I don't even need to type it right. Russian letters, military. Here. This was on February 27th. I keep referring to this article because it was when the war started, and it's straight up like this is what the letters mean. They're not. You can read an article about this. You type this type of article in now, and you're gonna get a lot of different answers. Where is it?
The letter V represents the Russian Marines. The letter Z represents units in the Eastern Military District.
One more time.
The letter Z represents units in the Eastern Military District.
One more time.
The letter Z represents units in the Eastern Military.
One more time.
The letter Z represents units in the Eastern Military District.
All right. So that's what it is. Now they're making it a symbol. Both, if you will, the media, Western media, and Russia making it a symbol. That's why even the picture here was with the Z. The letter Z with the square is a southern military district in Crimea.
District. The letter Z in a square represents the southern military district, Crimea. The letter O represents units from Belarus.
And that's what we saw. The letter O represents units from Belarus. So that's what you're seeing here. That's why these vehicles are going to go north into Belarus. There's the O. See the O on it? See the O on this tank? It's going into Belarus, so it's going to take a right from Brovary and go north. It's going to take a right from Brovary. Here's Brovary, and it's going to go north into the Russian-occupied zone. Russia-occupied area up here. Around Chernihiv. That's the other city they're trying to take, Chernihiv.
Belarus. The letter X represents the forces of Ramzan Kadyrov, the Putin-installed warlord of Russia's Chechnya region. The letter A represents Russian Special Forces, SSO, like Spetsnaz in its various operational units.
One more time. So, like I think Russia's already putting that letter Z on T-shirts. So it's just like they're branding it.
The letter V represents the Russian Marines. The letter Z represents units in the Eastern Military District. The letter Z in a square represents the Southern Military District, Crimea. The letter O represents units from Belarus.
Almost like they're using the Z to troll. They're using the Z to troll everybody, like they consistently always do. The Z is just a military unit. They're using it because the West is getting scared of it. Okay, let's look at the latest. Yes, Russia is really using this in the Battle of Mariupol. I repeat, this is real. This is their armored tank car, armored train. Wasn't this in didn't they in Call of Duty had one of these? Didn't they have an armored train? Yes, this is real. Battle of Mariupol. Russians are using an armored train. No, that was in Battlefield 1. That was the armored train. I didn't think that was a... Dude, they still use those? It's all a troll. Up armored train from World War II. That's what it looks like. World War II used those. I repeat, they're using an up armored train. What is that? Where is that train from? What era of history is that train from? Let's see if there's any articles about it. Russian armored train. A Russian armored train has joined the invasion of Ukraine. Oh my God! Here it is. Here's a video of it.
Пидорасы. Пидорасы. Пошли нахуй, пидорасы. Пидорасы. Ёбаный пидор. Слава Украине! Слава Украине! Слава Украине!
Dude.
Пидорасы! Слава Украине! Пидорасы!
They got the battlefield armored train called in.
Пидорасы! Пошли нахуй, пидорасы! Пидорасы! Ёбаный пидор! Слава Украине! Слава Украине! Слава Украине!
Those look like some 125mm guns on this tank too, Dave. These look like some 125mm on there. They definitely have. Dude, it's up armored, a real armored train.
Пидорасы! Слава Украине! Пидорасы!
Alright. So that's video of it. A Russian armored train now is to be appeared as joined the mix.
A Russian military armored train now appears to be taking an active part in the fighting in Ukraine. Video emerged on social media today reportedly showing the train arriving in the southern Ukrainian city of Melitopol after having departed from a yard on the Crimean Peninsula. It's unclear exactly where or when this video was shot. However, the train is adorned with Z markings that some Russian forces have been using for identification purposes during operations in Ukraine. ZS and other symbols had started appearing on Russian military vehicles staged around the country's borders with Ukraine in the lead-up to the invasion, as you can read more about here. A map put out by the UK Ministry of Defence showing the extent of advances made by Russian forces into southern Ukraine, including the capture of Melitopol as of March 3, 2022.
From what we can see in the video, okay, so here's an explanation of the video that we're watching.
From what we can see in the video, the train has 2 diesel locomotives and 8 rail cars of various types. The lead locomotive is sandwiched between 2 specialized armored rail cars, with the one behind being armed with a pair of Zu-23 twin-barrel 23mm automatic cannons, which can be used against low-flying aircraft and targets on the ground.
Dang, it's just got...
The resolution of the video makes it hard to tell what kind of payload the lead car is carrying, but it may be vehicles of some kind, which could provide firepower of different types. Behind this trio in front is a boxcar, a passenger car, a flatbed car, 2 more armored rail cars, the second locomotive, and another flatbed trailing at the end. The flatbed in the middle appears to be carrying a large cargo of some kind under wraps, while the one at the end looks to be empty. The video below shows a Russian armored train taking part in an exercise in 2016.
So here's what that train looks like in an exercise. Is this that same train? So here it is in like a... Here's what it looks like. Without potato quality. What the fuck, dude? 23mm, yes. What is this? What do they practice blowing up a bridge? This is a training exercise with the train. Whoa. They can move the railroad tracks on a boat? Oh. They can move do they have any of these bridges there? Do they have any of these boat bridges in Ukraine right now? Oh, no. Do they have any of these? I wonder if they have any of these boat bridges for the train in Ukraine, or like they're building them. Because this means they can get across rivers. We're watching them how they get across the river. Like what? Keep in mind, Ukraine blew up a lot of bridges. So they have their railroad tracks. They can. They use rail more than trucks. This is 2016 training video showing that train, or their capabilities. They're crossing the river capabilities. They don't really show much of the train, except for in the beginning. But that's what you. Yeah, that's a for real armored train, dude. Do we even have one? Do we even have something like this in the U.S.? Do we even have? Armored trains are the Rail Engineer Corps. That is like moving the bridge, though. We're moving the railway over the river. We don't know why the Russians have deployed this one. Let's read this. They have 2 of them?
We don't know why the Russians may have deployed this one in this case either. However, trains, in general, remain highly important to Russia's military for moving tanks and other vehicles, other equipment, personnel, and supplies. Beyond that, the Russian military is known to have conducted drills in the past that featured the use of these armored trains to support logistics activities in this exact region. In 2016, 2 of them, named Baikal and Amur, took part in a logistics exercise that included operations in Crimea. That was reportedly the first time in 15 years that any of Russia's armored trains had taken part in drills anywhere in the country. 2 years later, the the Russian government completed a bridge over.
They hadn't done drills in 15 years in them, and now 2016 they started doing them again.
Over the Kerch Strait, which links the Black Sea to the Sea of Azov, providing a route, initially for road traffic and then later for trains, between the peninsula and mainland Russia. Rail traffic across that bridge has been essential in the general buildup of Russian forces in Crimea in recent years, as well as the deployment of additional forces there ahead of the invasion. Trains were used to move forces into position elsewhere, including into neighboring Belarus, and are now an important part of the resupplying of Russian units throughout Ukraine.
Armored trains. Growing number of companies leaving Russia. So here's a companies that left Russia update. McDonald's. That's going to hurt lots of Russians. I've seen so many complaints about them losing their McDonald's. Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Starbucks. Another one. General Electric. Shell. Don't know what this is. Unilever. Condé Nast. Don't know what those are. Dang. McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Starbucks, GE, and Shell. Hey, take this moment and comment where you're tuning in from. What city and what state you guys watching from. Where in the world you guys are tuned in from. I'm Andy Mercado from Mercado Media. You're watching Mercado Media Productions on YouTube. Spam the reactions. Hit the like button on Facebook. Like the video on YouTube. What are you guys at so far? You guys are at 615 out of 1,000, and there's 1,700 people tuned in. Everybody takes a moment. That's the goal every stream on YouTube. Follow Mercado Media. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Mercado Media Productions on YouTube. We got Pennsylvania, Massachusetts tuned in. Green Lake, Wisconsin. Hello, Pennsylvania. Hello, Pennsylvania. South St. Paul. Waco, Texas. How you doing? Toronto, Canada. Manchester, United Kingdom. Hampton, Georgia. Buffalo, New York. Subscribe. Also, while we're doing the check-in, this is your time. We're not... Take the time and follow, subscribe, close the chat out. You have to close the chat to do it. Hit the X in the top right, and then the subscribe button will be right there. Click that button, and then the bell, and then bring the chat back. It'll take you 2 seconds. Facebook, all you gotta do is type !notify, and then you'll follow and automatically get notifications without leaving the chat. So you don't have to close the chat on Facebook. You just need to type !notify. But if you're a non-follower right now, you're unable to comment. You'd have to follow the page first, and then you can comment. But get notifications to !notify. How you doing? Crockett, Texas is tuned in. Thank you so much, Kathy, for those. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Patricia. Yuma, Arizona tuned in. Hershey, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Northwest Ohio. Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. James Drake Jr., thank you so much. Thank you, Megan. What's going on with the feed? Oh, I'm not hearing any audio. The audio went away. There we go. We're back. Different feed. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jamie. Christina, thank you. Thank you, James. Oh, is this feed cutting out right now? Tape change? That's the one thing. We do have the Maidan Square. This is what... No, we don't have any daytime. But this is the Maidan Square in Kyiv. Gotta be 420 somewhere, right? It's 7:05 p.m. here. Hope you guys are going to tune in to our nighttime coverage. Let's continue on with these clips from the combat in Ukraine. So we have a combat compilation from the day before. Combat compilation. No gore or blood or anything like that. They're not showing any. The feed cut. It looks like it. Hopefully it comes back. Dead silence is uncomfortable. So let's play this video. Again, this is the conflict compilation that isn't like, you know, super violent. There's violence, of course, and I hope in all of my streams by now there's an understanding that it is viewer discretion advised. We're watching a war, but I'm doing my best I can not to play gore or anything like that. So let's go back in. This is in Brovary. Miami, Florida tuned in. How you doing? Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Jamie. Also on Facebook, share the stream if you have not done so. Welcome, Free Zone. Russian BMD-1 destroyed near Kherson. So here's the here's the O. Oh shoot. Dang it. Sorry. I hit the wrong button. That's a Belarus unit. It's got the O on it. Go back some. There it is. Got the O on it. So this is from this is the Belarus unit. Tiger Typhoon L. Looks like the only type of, it looks like an MRAP. Right, probably not though.
Очень жаль подрывать такого малыша. Очень жаль.
You tune in on your overnight, James?
Большевички у нас щедрые оказались. Но надеемся, что вскоре заберем не застрявшего. Ну, такие дела. Вот оно. ВВС России.
Shot down Russian helicopter. Glasgow, UK. Great job. Thank you, Libby.
Сутки уже гореть. Гады, блин. Бортовой номер. Пушка.
Russian helicopters at night. So this is... Oh, okay. So this video was what Russia put out. This clip. So this is what Russia is presenting as the special military operation. Russia isn't showing any video or clips of them bombarding schools, hospitals, residential areas. They're not showing any of the war crimes being committed. They're showing what looks like training videos. So if you're Russian, you have the blinders on because you're a Russian citizen. When you tune into your Russian media sources, you're seeing these type of videos, and they look very training video-y. They look like training videos. But so this is what Russia's putting out for their war footage or for their anything war related. They all look like they're training. Because again, it's a quote special military operation. It's illegal to call it war.
Пушка.
Thank you, Natalie. Hey, you're from Southern Illinois. This will be our 2nd year anniversary following you. Thanks, Renee. Bert, thank you.
Всем привет, это проект Варгонза. Мы находимся снова на Донбасском фронте. Ребята из батальона «Спарта» сейчас обороняют рубежи Донецка. Не так давно на Песке заехала группа из правого сектора. Они подняли свой флаг.
This is the Russian Sparta battalion near Donetsk. This is in the Donbass. This is where they've been fighting for 8 years. Donetsk.
Это как раз тоже район Донецкого аэропорта. Вот из миномета ребята наносят удары по нацбатам и правосекам, несмотря на трагическую гибель и героическую гибель своего комбата в Охе. Парни выполняют боевые задачи, наносят регулярно удары по воинской части в Авдеевке, уничтожают живую силу противника, как минимум порядка 10 человек из ВСУ, солдат, были уничтожены украинских.
Выстрел!
What it looks like a mortar going in. So they're showing footage from Donbas. They're showing footage from the Donbas region, which again they use and propagandize for this entire invasion. So to Russia, they're only fighting in Donbas, and then anything else is special military operation. That's the ending of that one. Wonder if we got... Nope. Probably gonna do a tape change. Yep, probably tape change. Here's the look Fox News gets every day. They have a feed, but no sound. You can go to... So, this is a nice clip that we watched today. Don't worry, be happy. We can have a smoke break now, I suppose. This is a good song. This is a good clip to have a smoke break to. Again, 420 friendly safety meeting. This was in Odessa. This was in Odessa yesterday. Become one of my favorite clips now. I guess, nope, not having that kind. Wowie wowie it is. 120 millimeter mortar, big ass mortar. This is going to be a regular featured clip. Like, this probably might just be our safety meeting song. It never gets old. Yes, this is Don't Worry, Be Happy in Odessa. One more time while we smoke. One more time. Tell you what. This makes me wanna join them. I don't even know if I know that. I'll learn the song. I haven't played it in quite a long time. But I'll tell you what, I'll learn it. I'll figure out how to play along. I was all state. I'm ready for anything. Alright. Don't worry, be happy. Also, the Kyrgyzstan protests, too, that happen every day. Let me see. It's really quiet. I was enjoying that. That's not how you spell Kyrgyzstan. Trying to find the protests that take place. Did we retweet? I think I retweeted one. Plot twist. I'll learn how to play it. Oh, here you go. This is in Symbolism, though. People remove the separatist flag and replace it with the flag of Ukraine. Where is in Symbolism? Peaceful protests happening every day. Where is this? It's so quiet. May please turn the feedback on soon. It is so quiet. Thank you. Just something. Just something. Thank you. Got the feed going now again. Tape change. Alright, where is this? Symbolism? It's in Luhansk. No, north of Luhansk. North of Luhansk. Hey Don, how you doing? How you doing? I got Maui Wowie. I'm out of runts, so it's just Maui Wowie right now. Which is a sativa, but it's an interesting one. Little debilitating at times. Not as runts doesn't debilitate me, but what Maui Wowie kind of messes me up sometimes. But here is in Symbolism. Day 13 of having to explain how weed is not bad for you. In Symbolism in Luhansk region, which was occupied by Russian occupants. Again, I'm in recovery. I've been recovered from my substance of addiction, substance of abuse for 3 years. What was it, 19, 20, 20? Yeah, over 3 years. It was 3 years on January 15th. So marijuana has significantly helped my life in many ways. I actually probably wouldn't be doing this right now without it, like in general. So you probably wouldn't even be following me. Think about it.
Ми варвари, ні, кажу, ми вже не варвари. Фу, як воняє. Фу,
Оце так пахне руський мір просто.
Аж глаза не дають спалити, кажуть, ми варвари, ні, кажу, ми вже не варвари.
Фу, як воняє. Фу, оце так пахне руський мір просто.
Аж глаза.
All right, so that's in Symbolism. Trying to find, I think we retweeted it. Oh, this was in Minneapolis. Oh, I slept through this. Damn. Oh, this was in this. Oh, wow. So this is usually what I would be doing if I wasn't covering the war. I would have been in Minneapolis covering this teacher strike. This teacher strike. Smoke. I would have been out there in the protest filming it. I missed that one. Trying to find more of the clips from. I don't think did I forget to retweet them? I think I forgot to retweet them. Discord, do you have the clip of the Kherson protests from yesterday when they're singing? If you could help me get that one pulled up, unless you guys did and I just haven't looked. Do you have the Kherson protest clips? They're nearly every day. Treasures of Lviv being wrapped. They've already transported, you know, lots of monuments and historical items into Poland and other countries. Had to Google 420, what? Safety meeting. Is weed a thing in Russia? Probably not. Likely not. Alright. Let me see. Discord, do you have the Kherson protest clips? Check the discussion. I'm looking in the war room, though, for the... No, people are commenting stuff, but I'm not seeing the... Our clip team must be sleeping for tonight. When I do the overnight coverage, when stuff is happening live, like a lot, again, we're going over a lot of old clips that were from yesterday for the overnight. So if you guys want to see this stuff happen when it happens, thank you, you got it. You got to tune in from 11:30 p.m. to 7 a.m. because again, we've been tuned in all night. This is a 3-hour stream. So what is it, 7? So it's 3 a.m. So if you've been watching me for this coverage since the start, I would go live at this time. And it would be 3 a.m. in Ukraine, and that was, you know, lots of air raids were going on. Russian soldiers were advancing. They were trying to push into Kyiv. They tried something similar to a blitzkrieg, honestly, in the first few days, and it failed miserably. And so I was going live at this time because that's when things were going on. It's 3 in the morning, or it's a little past 3 in the morning. So we go live now when the breaking news happens, and I've adjusted my sleep schedule, so I'm up now all night long so we can cover the daytime news. Of course, the streams post afterwards, so like if you can't, like shout out to Mike who rewatched. He says I rewatched you during the daytime. That is also an option. The videos post on YouTube and Facebook afterwards. They're easier to find on YouTube. But if you guys just like can't tune in for the live coverage, but you still want a full recap of what we saw when we saw it, the videos do post afterwards. So you can just come back to the channel or go to the playlist and you can watch them at your disposal. The entire war from the beginning when we started till now is in a playlist on YouTube. I wish I could do that on Facebook, but there isn't an option to do so. So even if you're a Facebook watcher, if you want to rewatch things, or if you saw something you missed, or if you remember something and you want to go back and reference it, the videos post on YouTube in the playlist. They're all there, and none of them have been taken down. All my monetization I'm turning off so YouTube doesn't take my videos. That's a big thing. Avoid YouTube taking videos for whatever reason. They haven't done anything to my videos at all. So there haven't been any strikes or no one's Facebook. A couple grimy media companies have been copywriting me, but I've fought them and won every single time because I know exactly what to put in the dispute. But YouTube hasn't done anything to the videos right now. But of course, YouTube, shoot, they're keeping it right now, but it could change. They could take videos down, but right now the videos are good. The coverage is still good. They haven't censored anything. I think as long as if you're trying to stream this, or if you stream this too, I might as well turn your monetization off. The mainstream news runs ads during their coverage and whatever, but on social media you gotta turn your ads off for this, or they can strike you down. Yeah, Speak the Truth. We watch them, Paul. We watch Speak the Truth's recap videos. Let's check and see if they have anything new. Got another hour. They do a real good job breaking down. Alright, so let's listen to this video. This can't happen or Ukraine will lose the war. Let's listen.
How are you guys doing?
So again, analysis. They do a really good job of using maps and their military knowledge, their combat veterans. Speak the Truth on YouTube. They've been doing an excellent job of just talking about the war during these podcasts that they're doing. I don't know what their beliefs are. I don't know what they talk about outside of this. I just know that during this time, their coverage of the military aspect of this war has been on point. So, Speak the Truth on YouTube. Full credit. Shout out to Rob, and they do an excellent job of breaking down the military movements and what could happen based upon their experience. So again, this is speculation, opinion, but it's kind of rooted in understanding of military tactics. So it's not like it's coming from a politician or it's coming from someone that, like a Hollywood person. This is someone that knows what they're talking about. All right. So.
And welcome over here to the channel. If you guys are new, please do me a favor and subscribe. I am doing multiple videos every single day on the Ukrainian conflict over there, mainly because it's ever changing. It's literally changing as we are speaking. There's on the ground movement. And so I'd like to keep you guys as updated as possible. So do me a favor and subscribe. In between videos, we're going to be doing live streams directly from Kyiv. And the reason why I say that is directly from there is because we have 9 cameras we can actually pull from. So with those cameras, we actually see live.
Speak the Truth if you didn't see it. Right above my head. My bad. Speak the Truth. When we started this war coverage, their channel had like 24,000 subs. Because I found their first video that they had posted, and now they're blowing up. Good. I mean, they're doing great with the military breakdown. You're getting 100,000 subs in 13 days.
Live on the ground from the streets around on there, so we know when the assault on the town is actually going to happen. So make sure to subscribe so you see those live streams when they go live. So the Ukrainian military has actually just received a fresh delivery. Yes, you see this nice, sweet, succulent delivery of equipment from NATO. These photos are actually of javelins, NLAWs, and AT-4s. You guys know that they've been using these things against Russian forces since the beginning of this conflict, and they're going to continue to do so. That is why they have been kind of smothering the Russians when it comes to having air superiority. This kind of stuff right here, which is a good thing for the Ukrainian forces. Now, I do a lot of work with maps. So if you guys been on this channel, you guys know this is pretty much what I like to do. So the one you're currently looking at is from yesterday. So this is from yesterday, and this is, I'm just going to give you a quick little overview so you have an idea. Black is going to be routes coming in and out. Red is going to be Russian, and blue is going to be Ukraine. So we're going to go to today's map. So it's been updated just a tad bit. Now, I don't like this up here. I don't believe this is correct still. And I'm going to show you here in a little bit. I don't believe that is correct. I do pull these maps offline. I'm not the one that is making these maps, just so you are aware. All this information is actually collected and put on here, but for the most part, it is pretty much up to date. It is hard to keep these maps up to date just due to the fact that things are changing so quickly on the ground. Down here at Mariupol, as you guys do know, they're completely surrounded. And I'm actually feeling for that city because I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to hold off the Russian forces from completely taking it over. So we'll just keep this map up here for a little bit. We're going to be coming back to it. There's a lot of stuff I'm going to go over. There's a lot that's happened in the last 12 hours since the last video. There has been a new batch of Iskander missiles.
Needs a little volume. You need to. All right. I'll turn it up some. All right, it'll for sure be loud enough now.
That are actually been currently moving right now on M5 highway in Belarus towards Babrusk. I'm actually going to show you guys here on the map real quick. So we're going to go over here. And
let's go back some since you guys missed it.
This conflict, and they're going to continue to do so. That is why they have been kind of smothering the Russians when it comes to having air superiority. This kind of stuff right here, which is a good thing for the Ukrainian forces. Now, I do a lot of work with maps. So you guys, if you guys been on this channel, you guys know this is pretty much what I like to do. So the one you're currently looking at is from yesterday. So this is from yesterday, and this is, I'm just going to give you a quick little overview so you have an idea. Black is going to be routes coming in and out. Red is going to be Russian, and blue is going to be Ukraine. So we're going to go to today's map. So it's been updated just a tad bit. Now, I don't like this up here. I don't believe this is correct still, and I'm going to show you here in a little bit. I don't believe that is correct. I do pull these maps offline. I'm not the one that is making these maps, just so you are aware. All this information is actually collected and put on here, but for the most part, it is pretty much up to date. It is hard to keep these maps up to date just due to the fact that things are changing so quickly on the ground. Down here in Mariupol, as you guys do know, they're completely surrounded, and I'm actually feeling for that city because I don't know how
Appreciate that 762/39. Appreciate that.
much longer they're going to be able to hold off the Russian forces from completely taking it over. So we'll just keep this map up here for a little bit. We're going to be coming back to it. There's a lot of stuff I'm going to go over. There's a lot that's happened in the last 12 hours since the last video. There has been a new batch of Iskander missiles that have actually been currently moving right now on M5 highway in Belarus towards Babrusk. I'm actually going to show you guys here on the map real quick. So we're going to go over here. And I actually already have it pinned for you guys. So there's Belarus right there. Or there's Babrusk, excuse me, inside of Belarus. This video you're about to watch is from that, and it's on the M5 highway on its way down there.
Yes. Then the other thing too that took the M5 highway is that that tank column we saw go through. That tank column that we found. Where is it? Where is that? Need the coordinates again. Dang it. Or maybe it's saved. Hold on. It might be saved in the history. Oh no. History. Your places. No. I had the coordinates of the convoy, the tank convoy that took the M5 highway that we found. But there's movement around and outside to the northeast of Kyiv. Again, I pause videos, fair use. I gotta implement my own commentary too at times, and they're gonna be a verified channel here for sure. Northeast. So the MI5 highway. I-7. The M5 highway. Oh, it's in Belarus. The M8. M8, M10. God, the M5, like, I've looked at the M5. Okay. I've had eyes on that M5 and now I can't find it. No, this was on the 8th. This was yesterday. In Ukraine.
So as we're looking at the map here, you guys can see it's just north. Well, actually, I say just north. It is north of Kyiv, and those could either be going towards Chernihiv, so they can help on that assault over there, or to Kyiv to help on that push. I don't know exactly where it's coming from, but I wanted to give you guys quick little updates and show you guys. You could tell that the Russian markings were actually on the side of those vehicles. So the Russian losses as of March 8th, just around 12,000 troops have been either KIA or have been casualties, 48 planes, 80 helicopters, 303 tanks, 120 artillery pieces, 1,036 armored personnel carriers, 56 MLRSs, 2 boats, 474 cars, 60 fuel trucks, 7 UAVs, 27 anti-aircraft warfares. I found another site for you guys. I know a lot of people want to talk about the numbers and maybe skewed or whatnot. I don't believe that they're too far off if they are. I really do believe that. I guess you can look at it. They could be propaganda-ish, which they could be, but I don't believe they are. And I did find another site that actually has nothing to do with Ukraine. Has nothing to do with them. They're just an outside source. They actually have photos of every single vehicle that has been destroyed. They've taken a lot of time to do this. They're stating that 916, all right, that's how many vehicles Russia has actually lost a total. So, and 916 of them.
Anybody know the website he's using? If we can get that website too, because he's using the Kyiv Independent as well. Does he list it? Oh man, do we have that website in the Discord, the one he's referencing right now? Because I've been trying to find another source too outside of the Kyiv Independent.
366 have been destroyed, 13 have been damaged, 150 have been abandoned, and 385 have been captured. That's how they're doing the numbers. So that was how they're getting to those numbers. So now you have an idea. And the good thing about this is they actually show the Ukrainian side of things, which I'll scroll down here for you guys and I'll just take a look. We got it right here. Ukraine's actually have 273, which 95 have been destroyed, 4 have been damaged, 44 have been abandoned, and 227 have been captured. Now you have an idea. This is not a source directly out of Ukraine. This is a unanimous one. This is just one, like an actual individual collecting on each one that they found and seen. So this one is actually pretty reliable, so I'm going to go with that. And I kind of do believe it, because an assaulting force like the Russians are going to take heavy losses, get ambushed a ton on these routes. We're going to go over that here a little bit too, because there's a pretty important route that's coming out of just north of Sumi that they're using to go into the eastern side of Kyiv on that eastern flank. The United States has now banned all Russian oil imports due to them invading Ukraine. This is not something that shouldn't really shock anybody with the amount of pressure the people here in America have put on the administration to actually do so. I don't think they really had any other choice. I still believe that we should probably open up fracking and do everything here in America other than just going to Venezuela, or I guess we could import more from Canada. Canada's at least a friendly neighbor. With that being said, that's pretty much the news on the whole Russia oil being imported into America. It's not going to be allowed. I don't think UK is going to be able to do that. Not the UK, Europe, that is. I don't know if Germany and them are going to be able to actually follow through with doing this, because the amount of oil that I think it's 25% of Germany's oil actually comes from Russia. So we're going to head back over here to the map. So we know where Irpin is. If you don't know where Irpin is, I'm going to show you guys around Irpin, Bucha, Hostomel, all on the northwestern side. I'm going to go ahead and draw a little square around it so you guys see right there. I'm going to erase that, clean that map up. Just
again, this is Speak the Truth. Go support their channel. Go support his channel. Give their video a like and a view. Speak the Truth.
Tad bit. So the city of Irpin is actually fallen back partially under Russian control, with the remaining piece of that area under intense artillery attacks. The Russians have also moved MLRS actually into range just east of Kyiv, which I'm going to show you. So here on the map, this is that eastern side I've been talking about. And there is a route which is actually somewhat annotated fairly well in here. So this black line you guys are seeing is pretty much the route that the Russians have been taking to bring in their equipment on the eastern flank of Kyiv. So there's now just MLRSs that are just in range and city. There's also the 76th Air Assault Division has moved into the area, which suggests the city will see an air assault attack leading up to the assault on the city. So expect these units to actually clear some more white space. Now let this one sink in, I guess, just a little bit. These air assault elements will push in, and they're going to actually clear some white space and get in some ticks and whatnot with the Ukrainian forces. Now, they cannot move much farther past the area that they've cleared until the rear element has moved up and actually secured the area that they have just cleared. You know what I'm saying? Because if they start pushing forward too much, then they're gonna have like split elements, which they don't want to have. Like, Russia needs to have their air assault linked up with their normal ground, the best way to put it. So foreign volunteers have actually been placed right now, which is another big deal. They've been pushed into the northwest side of Kyiv, in that area that has been just full. It's full of trench lines on that whole northwest side, as you guys do know, or maybe you don't know if you're new to the channel, but this is what I'm talking about. So this blue I'm actually outlining is pretty heavily fortified, and that is Ukrainian area. So the northwest side that I'm talking about, we'll go back to black here, is just right here. That area right there, they've actually moved in the international troops, those forces that have been coming out of from all these other countries, America, UK, Brazil. Like, there's people coming in from all over the world. Now they've been moved into that area, which is a big deal because it allows the Ukrainian forces to focus more on attacking and taking back areas of the city that have the previous loss, because they didn't have enough forces on the ground to actually do anything. So now they're actually giving them a little bit more freedom of movement to maneuver on the Russian enemy forces inside of that area and actually take back some ground. If you think about it, if the Ukrainians are stuck inside the trenches because they don't have enough men and women to actually go out there and fight, now these new forces coming in can sit inside of these trenches, because you're going to want the Ukrainian forces to actually be doing the assaulting, to actually gaining the ground, because they know the area. These people coming in from Brazil have no idea what's ahead of them. But these people that actually lived in this city know what's in front of them. So it's better for them to actually be doing the assaulting and actually taking back some ground from the Russian forces. So this video you guys are about to see was just taken a few minutes ago, and this is from the southeastern side of Kyiv. And this is actually a Russian convoy move.
Again, this isn't, this is, they do a 2-time-a-day recap for the nighttime and daytime. So these clips are from yesterday. If you guys want to watch live with us starting at 11:30 p.m. Central Time until 7 a.m., we go through all this stuff when it comes out. When like the Kyiv Independent drops that post every day that he just went through, we see that when they post it. So if you guys are interested in that type of coverage where we see this stuff when it actually happens the first time, that's from 11:30 to 7. And now this stream every day is kind of, again, like our recap feed from the daytime, because there isn't really, the Russian military isn't making moves at night right now unless there's bombardments and shellings. Let's refresh the map quick. Nope, nothing. No, I don't even see reports of shellings right now. So let's continue on. Again, speak the truth. Go support their channel. Give them a like on the video and then a view too, please.
Moving through that area, and I'm going to show you guys here on the map. I've actually already pulled it up for you guys. So here it is. This is on Google Earth. So it's down there on the southeastern side, and it's on a main route clearly, because that's what they're going to have to do. But that is one of the forward elements of the Russian forces as of right now.
Shout out Snack Squad Discord. We dug into all this when it was happening yesterday. So if you want to be a part of this and be a part of it when it's live and these clips are coming out and we're figuring out where they're going, tune in overnight. If you're up all night anyways, just come hang out with us. And we just went through this again, but we went through this when it came out, if that makes sense, when it happens live. You live there, Pop? Yeah, we saw that.
Thorn in the rear for the Russian military. They thought they were going to take this thing really quick, and now we're on going on day 12, and they have not been able to push through it whatsoever. All they've done is shell it, and they've shelled it to. They've done a lot of shelling on this place. The entire country's been shelled to almost nothing. But Russian forces are currently concentrating a large amount of their forces. 41st Combined Arms Army, by the way, is just on the southern outskirts of Chernihiv for a likely assault to try and take over the city. Thermobaric MLRSs have actually been geolocated to moving around the city, and Russian troops have continued to amass troops in Brovary and Borispil. So I'm actually going to show you guys where that's at here. So here is Brovary. So just so you guys know, it's on the northeastern side of Kyiv itself, just on the outskirts. So there it is. Of course, it's on a main route, E95, just on that outskirts. So somewhere inside of that area is some of the troops that they've been amassing along with this area of Borispil, which is just in the southeastern. It's just south of it, just south on another main route, MO3. So they're pretty much amassing troops on this eastern side. Now, they may be able to amass them, but the problem they're going to have is going to be logistics, getting actual fuel, water, and actually ammo and reinforcements over there, which we're going to go over here in a second. I guess they can get this initial push in there, but I think they're going to have a hard time actually sustaining this thing with reinforcements and getting reinforcements in there to the eastern side of that city. So the town of Okuchia, anyway, it's just south of Sumi, which is right here. I'm showing you guys here on Google Earth. That town right now is currently completely surrounded by Russian forces. But at this time, Russians have actually sustained heavy losses to actually gain this ground. So I do not think they're going to be doing any sort of advancement inside of this area over the next 2 days, 3 days, because they really do need reinforcements. They've sustained heavy losses in this one area just alone. The amount of ambushes they've had to sustain between there and Sumi, the amount of actually on the ground infantrymen has been. I think this is actually one of the areas they've sustained some of the largest losses over the last 12 hours. And
Sumi. Look at the news over there. the second evacuation column left 11 hours ago. But there was lots of bombardments. It would have been 2 nights ago now into yesterday, because it's nighttime right now. So the night prior, not tonight, so technically last night then. It's so hard to speak in terms of in the future while I'm 8 hours behind still. So the night prior to tonight, Sumi got hit hard.
I'm back over here on this normal map so you guys have an understanding. I'm going to go ahead and indicate what it is in red. So this is the town I'm talking about right here. So they've completely surrounded this town right here. Now the reason why I'm saying this is kind of a big deal, you guys see this main route, this black one we're going to have to talk about here in a minute. So that main route is the one that they're taking to get all the way over here to this eastern side of Kyiv. Now with that being said, Sumi is not completely 100% surrounded. So they're actually still getting attacked, the Russians that is, coming out of the south side of Sumi. All right, that route is getting attacked. Now with this town right here that it is just circled for you guys, with that one being surrounded, now now the Ukrainian forces are not able to peel out of that town and hit this route. Now I will say, none of this area right here that I am marked off, that area right there is not cleared. So this route that the Russians are taking, this one right here, is getting ambushed all the way down. You guys see that right there? So that is going to slow the progress they're actually making in that area because they're spreading themselves so thin. Yes, they may have amassed some troops on this eastern side of Kyiv where that square is. This square, they may have amassed some troops right there. That might be great. But the problem is how are they going to continue to get those reinforcements, fuel, and water all the way over there if they're continually getting ambushed on the way there? Back over to Google Earth, I'm going to type in another town so you guys can see. This is actually going to be one of the furthest southern regions, areas, you say, in the north. I've seen some tanks. And it's in a town called Mariupol. So here it is. I'm going to call this still the northern area, but it's just north of Poltava and like way southeastern of Kyiv.
Якось так. Після нашого бою ця підросня почала кидати танки і зйобувати. Якось так. Так що хлопці молодці.
But these tanks you guys are actually seeing is the farther and southern element I've actually seen from the Russians that resides in the north. They've abandoned their tanks just outside of the town, which is the one I just showed you. I just think they're having a significant amount of logistical issues when it comes to actually giving these men on the ground. Like I've said this over and over again, food, water, bullets, ammo, fuel. Fuel being the number one thing why you keep seeing all these abandoned tanks. Like this is another reason why they spread themselves too thin and they push too far. So there you go. Each one of these tanks, by the way, costs roughly $3, $4, $5 million. Just think about it. They're just leaving it on the side of the road because it ran out of fuel. So we're going to come back over to this map real quick. So this is the route that I'm not really too pleased with. That's not supposed to be here on the map. I do believe it's more like this, okay? I've stated this before. This one is not correctly annotated. It doesn't display correct. So we're going to go back to this route. As you guys do know, there is a staging for Russian offenses right there and right here just north of Kharkiv. We do know that that is one of the areas. So with that being said, this route that they're taking, now over the last 12 hours, they've sustained. So as you can see in these photos that I'm now overlaying, over the last 12 hours, Russian forces have been struggling and have sustained fairly large losses on this route. This route is key, like I've said multiple times, because it'll help them supply from the assault on Kyiv, that they're going to need to secure this route. This route has to be secured. I don't know if they're going to ever be able to do it. I don't know if they have enough men to actually do it, because like I've said before, the farther you push, the more you have to leave back to actually control the area you just push past. So they're going to have to do this. To actually maintain this route, they're going to have to leave men on this route to make sure that it actually stays in the hands of the Russians. This is also a video footage I'm going to show you guys here in a second. This is the amount of destruction.
I'm going to play that part one more time because he breaks that whole part down really good. So listen one more time. He talks fast sometimes, but that part was crucial information.
Large losses on this route. This route is key, like I've said multiple times, because it'll help them supply from the assault on Kyiv, that they're going to need to secure this route. This route has to be secured. I don't know if they're going to ever be able to do it. I don't know if they have enough men to actually do it, because like I've said before, the farther you push, the more you have to leave back to actually control the area you just pushed past. So they're going to have to do this. To actually maintain this route, they're going to have to leave men on this route to make sure that it actually stays in the hands of the Russians. This is also a video footage I'm going to show you guys here in a second. This is the amount of destruction the Russians have actually caused in the civilian areas, in the Sumi area, and this is just that area right now. So here's that video for you guys. Ukrainian forces have also captured a fully functional T-72B3M just outside of Sumi, and I have the video proof of that for you guys there.
Does a very good job breaking down everything that we've seen through the night. Again, y'all, this is Speak the Truth on YouTube. Go give them a like and then a view. A lot of you have been, so thank you. They want to just steal content without giving credit, and then send you guys to their videos as well. This is what we're watching. Speak the truth. Great analysis and an actual relevant, predictions of what could happen without, he has plenty of experience. He's a combat veteran. He knows what he's talking about, and we're not hearing it from CIA or FBI or defense analysts on the mainstream news. You're hearing it from people that are veterans and know and understand tactics. So this is Speak the Truth on YouTube.
So we're going to push actually a little bit east. So Izium has actually been taken. We're going to have to switch this over to red. As you guys do know, they did push through here, and Izium has been taken by Russians. So Izium has been taken. All right, so that's the route, this route right here. And Severodonetsk right here is almost completely surrounded. They are actually more linked up like this now. So this town of Severodonetsk, I'm going to circle it for you guys. So that area is actually almost completely surrounded by Russian forces as of right now. The reason why the fall of these two cities would actually be a big blow, which I think it could possibly happen, because now the Russian forces are going to move south out of Izium and go towards Severodonetsk. And the reason why I say this is if they take this area over with, they're actually going to be able to take those concentrated troops that they've been pushing through this area and either push them down to Mariupol. So if they push them down to Mariupol, now they're going to have a heavier force going after Mariupol, where they might be able to actually assault the city. Right now, they don't have enough forces down in that area because they're spread so thin everywhere else. But they can't actually assault the city. They're going to take heavy casualties if they go after the city right now. It's going to happen. Mariupol. So we're going to scroll down here into Mariupol, as you guys do know. About 3 hours ago, a humanitarian convoy left Sapsorsia. So you don't know what's that. Remember this main route that I told you guys about? That was the main route. They actually had to demine it. The Ukrainians had to demine it because the Russians have actually put mines on the route leading out. So
they put mines on the route. They've had a deal, or they've come up with a ceasefire. So any of the ceasefire you've heard is from Mariupol. And 3 days now, I don't think they tried. We'll see if they try today. We'll see if they try again today, but they call a ceasefire and Russia disobeys it every time, and Russia fires on the people trying to leave. So the people in Mariupol are trapped there. They need to capture this. Russia needs to capture the city to complete the land bridge, and the only way out is through here. Russia placed mines on their way out and continue to IDF and send artillery at the people trying to get out of there.
So here's video proof of the humanitarian convoy actually leaving Zapsorsia for Mariupol.
За желтыми автобусами становитесь. Желтые выезжают, и вы за ними. Желтые.
So Ukrainian forces actually had to dismantle fortifications and demine the road to allow civilian evacuation from Mariupol. So that same route that I'm actually showing you guys, this black one right there, Russian forces reportedly used the opportunity and are now assaulting the city as we speak. If the Russians claim Mariupol, that will lead them to being able to free up a large number of their force and will end up pushing north and linking up with another element from the Russian military to go on to Dnipro. So like I was telling you guys a second ago, so if this area, I'm just going to circle it kind of big. So if they take this area, the Russians that is, they'll be able to push their forces this way to go and assault this city, which then if they take this area, which is Mariupol, they will be able to actually push forward and then reconnect with this assaulting element right there and actually try to go after this town and actually start pushing more north. So that is what I see happening over the next 2 to 3 days, is this kind of movement. I know we're going to be able to go back and actually look at it, but if they take Mariupol, which is a big area, they'll be able to have freedom of movement in that area and allow more of their troops to move north.
Dangerous. That's why Mariupol's huge, because then they'll take they'd have this entire region, and then they can start moving, and then they regroup, and they move into this area, and then they got to move into this area, and then it's just going to inch closer to Kyiv. They don't have any of this right now. Trying to get as many people out as they can. Trying to get as many civilians out as they can right now.
So we're going to push west here. We're going to go over to Kherson. So you guys know where Kherson's at. It was one of the areas that they actually didn't have a ton of fighting going on past the second day of the conflict, mainly due to the fact that the ground there is hard to defend. So the Ukrainians actually pushed back to Mykolaiv, what they've held off very well so far. But here's Kherson right there. So Russian forces have actually apparently fixed the Kherson bridge within the last 12 hours or so. This is kind of significant due to the fact that they can now push forward the logistics they actually need, along with reinforcements for operations against Mykolaiv, which is just north of it, which they haven't been able to actually do very much with. And we know that the route is actually more like this out of Mykolaiv. It's not straight up the side of it like it is right here. It's annotated on this thing. I don't believe this map is correct completely, but I don't think it's more like this. It's more like the red one I've actually just shown you guys right there. But Russian forces were ambushed earlier today outside of Voznetsk, which is up here. This is that area I'm talking about. I believe they're going after the nuclear plant, which is right there. These Russian forces you guys seen. So the video you're about to watch is just from outside of here. The Russians lost a T-72, 2 BTR-80s, and a few other trucks. You'll see in this video that the truck driver apparently, I don't know what he was doing, but he didn't see the pole on the other side of this mound of dirt. So here's that video for you guys.
I'm just still wild to me that they leave the vehicles behind like they are, isn't it?
So there is your complete up-to-date video and what is going on over the last 12 hours over there in Ukraine. Expect the assault on Kyiv to have within the next 3 days or so. And if they take this eastern side, they're going to push up to Dnipro, which may be some issues. We got key areas: Mariupol, Severe, Donetsk, and Kyiv. If they lose any of those areas, especially Kyiv. Kyiv is like the heart and soul right now of Ukraine, and I think the Russian forces are building up an assaulting element on that eastern flank to actually push through and link up with that 40-mile-long one that is northwest of Kyiv.
Oh, good point. So we definitely saw, you guys are gonna have to tune in overnight. That's for like that movement. Now he just put 2 and 2 together for me. Rovery, that tank column we were watching move through is going to link up with the other convoy from the M5. That's south of Minsk, right? Some people said it's south of Minsk. Dude, and then that 40-mile-long convoy is still up there. We watched that tank column roll through. He is making sense, which isn't good. So, dude, because like, Ukraine isn't really doing many counteroffensives to try to take these back, really, yet. They haven't really started mounting counteroffensives. They can't, though, because they still need to get their people out. So they can't really start counteroffensive until they get the civilian population out, because then they'll just be hitting their own people. So they're in a tough spot right now, Ukraine. They have to stay in defensive positions while Russia continues to bolster the border. And they can't do counteroffensives because they're still trying to evacuate their citizens, but Russia's making that extremely difficult. There's going to be a big attack. There's going to be a big assault on Kyiv. He's right about that. That column will move, or they'll get it refueled one day. It's still snowing up there, so I'm sure they're still dug in. But like, if warm weather comes around, my anxiety levels just went up. As much as it is that Ukraine's holding them off, they're not doing any counteroffensives to try to get this shit back. Like, Russia's just like slowly taking it. They're hitting soft targets and slowly taking the border. There's gonna be a big assault on Kyiv. A big one. He said in the next 2 to 3 days. And it depends on how long it takes to get that convoy refueled and resupplied and get going. And the weather, it's still snowing. You got to keep the weather in mind too. Keep the weather in mind too. It's been snowing, it's wet, been raining a lot. The weather's been helping out as well. So that convoy is probably super dug in. If they take Mariupol like today or tomorrow or whatever, they don't have the equipment, but they're going to continue. Like, they're not stopping. Like, there's nothing. Russia is not stopping. And we've already seen evidence of them moving. Or rather, this is Brovary. You know where the live stream is that we're watching? Right here. This is where we're tuned in the Freedom Square. Excuse me, Independent. What is it? The Maidan Square. And this is Brovary. This is where that tank column we saw moving. They're not that far away. Russian equipment destroyed. So at least
Куда попало?
Maidan.
Так близко.
Blow the rails. Yeah, they're gonna have to mount some counteroffensive, but they can't until they get the people out. And Russia's making it very difficult to do that. They're breaking. U.S. officials have demanded Venezuela supply at least a portion of oil exports. We're going to get Venezuelan oil? To ease oil trading sanctions in the OPEC member nation. No, he's not stopping. A senior member of Russia's ruling party has proposed nationalizing foreign-owned factories that shut down operation over the invasion of Ukraine. Foreign companies, including Ford and Nike, have announced temporary shutdowns of stores and factories. History repeats. Mexican oil. Milestones. 1937.
On March 18, 1938, Mexican President Lázaro Cárdenas signed an order that expropriated the assets of nearly all of the foreign oil companies operating in Mexico. He later created Petróleos Mexicanos, Pemex, a state-owned firm that held a monopoly over the Mexican oil industry, and barred all foreign oil companies from operating in Mexico. The U.S. government responded with a policy that backed efforts by American companies to obtain payment for their expropriated properties but supported Mexico's right to expropriate foreign assets as long as prompt and effective compensation was provided.
That sounds like something similar that they're going to work out with, dude, look at the year, too. Just, like... So, history. Obviously, we're referencing history often in our streams because history will tell you some truths about what's going on now. Get the year too. Trying to find it. Where'd that story go now? The senior members. No. Venezuela. So we're gonna have Venezuela supply at least a portion of oil exports. Demand. We're gonna need a. Hold on, let's see about that quick. See if there's any other articles about that. U.S. Venezuela oil. 47 minutes ago. Washington pins easing of Venezuela sanctions on direct oil supply to U.S. sources. Can't subscribe to that. U.S. ships focused to Venezuelan oil, but output is low. That's not relevant, and it's behind a paywall. They traveled to Venezuela 3 days ago. Well, now we know why.
The Biden White House inched closer Monday to a modest rapprochement with oil-rich Venezuela, a bitter foe due to the oppressive policies of President Nicolas Maduro, as it urgently sought ways to stave off the economic, diplomatic, and political impact of soaring gas prices that nudged over $4 a gallon. The potential thaw arrives as the White House sent a delegation to Venezuela over the weekend to discuss energy sanctions imposed by the United States several years ago and to address the fate of American citizens who have been jailed in the country, including 6 oil executives from Citgo. The Citgo 6 were interviewed by the U.S. delegation, according to a person with direct knowledge of the case who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss closed negotiations. The visit was coordinated by the Maduro government, according to the person. A U.S. diplomat met with some of the prisoners in December.
Alright, so I guess we're going to have a deal with Venezuela for oil to make up for the Russia deal, or taking Russia out of our oil dependence, which is like 1%, I believe. That's not getting involved in taking our hand out of one dirty pot and putting it into a different one. Look at the brave woman who openly asked a Russian soldier, "Why did you come to our country?" Okay. Here's a look at that armored train that we saw a little while ago. They have an armored train. The Russian soldiers do. 11%? That's the armored train that they have. Kyrgyzstan. Here's a video of Kyrgyzstan protests, which we'll see more of tonight. And that's here. Port City of Kyrgyzstan. Remember, every time you see peaceful protest footage in Kyrgyzstan, spam those blue and yellow hearts. That might just be the overnight. The overnight crew must know that. Do we have a whole nother audience for this time of night? Hope you guys tune in. I'll be on time, 11:30. 11:30 Central. We'll start it. And then we're going all night. And you'll see all these clips when they come out. About 5,000 civilians have been successfully evacuated from Sumi in the last 24 hours. What's this? Here's some more video coming out of Sumi. This was posted 6 minutes ago. So they're evacuating Sumi further. Evacuations continue. Here they come out. You're still here, you guys. Yeah, who will be here tonight, tuning in all night long? This is going to be a lot. It's kind of been a lot of evacuations. Here they're doing overnight evacuations. Here's that in Sumi. This video is just, so this is breaking. Here's some, I finally found some breaking up-to-date news for you guys. It has been slow all night. This is the very first video that's coming out, so you guys are seeing this right now. This was just posted. 2 stages of evacuation from Sumi completed successfully. 5,000 people and 1,000 private vehicles are safe. The head of the Poltava ODA, Dmitry Lunin. So they're getting out of Sumi. The evacuations continue. This was just posted. When they get the people out, it's going to be they're going to fight over Sumi. A U.S. citizen and an ex-executive of Citgo, the U.S. subsidiary of Venezuela's state oil company, has been released from prison. His lawyer says just days after U.S. delegation met with Maduro. Gustavo Cardenas is one of the Citgo 6 held in Venezuela since 2017, accused of corruption. Making deals. Told you, war isn't good. War is not good. Should be the moral of the story. Continuously, there should be there's moments in which like we get relief, and there's like a happy moment, or like this video. But lots of grimy stuff gonna happen. Citgo 6 corruption. So one of them is free. What the Ukrainian city of Sumi looks like after Russian bombing. About 5,000 people have been evacuated as a result of bombing by Russian aviation. Civilians were killed, including elderly and children. So this is Sumi. This is where all of the buses that you just saw are coming from. That's where these buses are coming out of. Yep. Sumi. Trying to get as many people out as they can. The Russian embassy, here's a video from if you missed it, there's a truck in Ireland. A truck driver in Ireland rammed his truck through the embassy gates, which breaches the Vienna Convention. Dubliners agree, calling the act, this is what a special parking operation. The Russian, Ukraine. Dude, they're jokes, dude. Ukraine's got jokes. Tell you that. Ukraine has jokes. He said Dubliners disagree. They call it a special parking operation. They literally drove his truck through the fence in Ireland.
I got it.
Bravo! Oh, sorry. Yep.
Bravo. Got him.
Well done.
Now that's a trucker protest.
That's the first. That's the first. You're right, apart from what we.
I love that his truck says "Simply the Best" on the top too. I'm hoping we get that. Just drove it right over the fence. Now he's handing out flyers. Drove their shit over.
Good man.
Look at their spray paint. Look at, there's probably protests outside of this thing, huh? Look at their spray paint on the wall.
Leave this country. Leave this free country. So it is. And go back to Poland where there's no freedom.
Very well done. I am from Poland.
No, I'm from Ireland.
Ireland.
Drove his truck over the fence, and now he's handing flyers out.
I wanted nothing to happen to anybody.
No, you're very good.
It's about time we stood up.
It is really.
And we're all sleeping on our couches.
And we should get rid of the ambassador.
Cozy in our own houses.
Yeah.
And we have to do something. I'm a working man.
Absolutely.
And we have to get rid of the ambassador
That's my
and all this
contribution
killery.
today. And I'm glad I done it. And I'm going to be arrested now shortly, so you can let the cameras know that that's why I done it.
We stand with you. Will you give us your name, please?
Desmond Wisely.
Desmond?
Wisely.
So Wisely.
Yeah.
We
there you
stand
go.
with you. We will
Desmond,
keep
you're
supporting you.
incredible.
Desmond, well done.
Yeah, no bother, yeah.
I have to arrest you, unfortunately, today.
No bother, yeah. I was going to give you this guy before I go. That was the woman there. Two kids were killed by a bar.
Just drove his truck over the fence. Even the cop was like, "I got to arrest you."
Well done, Desmond.
You're here, Desmond. Left his truck there. You're here, Desmond. One more time. You guys want to see a trucker protest? Ukrainians said that this is a special parking operation in which he drove his truck through the embassy in Ireland, the Russian embassy.
I love that. Well done.
I love that.
I got it.
He says, "I love that." You're here, Desmond.
Well done.
It's like a candle truck. Like he sells candles. Like it's got candles on it.
That's the first.
Light-hearted candles.
Apart from what we've been doing.
Candle company.
I don't know, for this lady here and her kids that were killed in Armband today, it really affected me last night, and I'm doing it for them, and I just want you to kind of leaflets of those.
Just Google Desmond Wisely to see all products.
Good man.
Well done.
Leave this country. Leave this free country. So
Desmond Wisely. I've done my bit, lads. Irish man plows truck through Russian embassy. Wisely elect all cloths. Oh, looks like he does a bunch of stuff. Who is Desmond Wisely? Coming famous man. Famous man, Desmond.
and go back to Poland where there's no freedom.
Very well done.
No, I'm from Ireland.
Ireland.
Just drove his shit right through their gate.
Ireland, we like justice.
Left it there.
That's why I wanted to know. I wanted nothing to happen. I wanted nothing to happen to anybody.
No, you're very good.
It's about time we stood up.
It is really.
And we're all sleeping on our couches.
And we should get rid of the ambassador.
Cozy in our own houses.
Yeah.
And we have to do something. I'm a working man.
Absolutely.
We have to get rid of the ambassador and all this killery.
And I'm glad I done it. And I'm going to be arrested now shortly, so you can let the cameras know that that's why I done it.
We stand with you. Will you give us your name, please?
Desmond Wisely.
Desmond?
Wisely.
Wisely.
Yeah.
We stand with you. We will keep supporting you.
Desmond.
Desmond, well done.
Yeah, no bother, yeah.
I have to arrest you, unfortunately, today.
I was going to give you this guy before I go. That was the woman there. Two kids were killed by a bar. I done it for her, alright?
Alright.
Okay, I don't mind it, lads. What time the rest of Ireland done there?
Well done, Desmond.
You're here. Yes, that's what we want. Saying for the week we have.
Here, Desmond. All right, y'all. We're reaching the end. I hope to see you guys when I'm live again tonight. It's getting cold down here. MMP LLC News, Mercado Media Productions. Follow us on Twitter. Hey, follow us on Facebook. Make sure you spam the reactions. Spam the reactions. We'll be back again at 11:30 p.m. 11:30 p.m. Central Time. Where is my channel? There we are. 1.5K watching. If everybody could subscribe and hit the notification bell, that would be great. I'll be scheduling the stream after this is over, so you guys can go and get the notification. And you guys will be able to be there on time. All right. So I'll be back live at 11:30 p.m. Central Time. No, the stream will be scheduled on YouTube, but you can follow on Facebook. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. This concludes the nightly coverage. The nighttime coverage. Again, it's nighttime in Ukraine. When we return, it will be daytime. All right, daytime will be back, and then breaking stories will happen, and we'll have plenty to cover all night long. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us on this recap stream. Have a wonderful evening. Again, like the video, follow the page, subscribe to the channel, notification bell turned on. I'll see you guys later on. Take care.